Basic psychology. The role of social influence processes in social change. Moscovici's conversion theory. According to Moscovici's conversion theory, a minority group draws attention to a particular issue they want to address to gain public attention. This creates cognitive conflict, and the majority group has to decide their own opinion on the issue.
Interesting. What happens next?
If the majority group can relate to or agree with the issue, it can initiate social change by putting it on the public agenda. The minority group's credibility also plays a significant role in creating a deeper conflict, forcing the majority to examine the minority's argument in greater detail.
That makes sense. What else do I need to know?
Consistency in a viewpoint is also key to bringing about social change for minority groups. When a minority group is consistent within itself and their arguments for change, they are more likely to be influential than a group that is fragmented and changing their stance on issues.
I see. Can you give me an example of this theory in action?
Sure. The suffragettes used various tactics to draw attention to the issue of only men having voting rights and women being denied this. Over time, their consistent message and view came to be adopted by the masses, highlighting how a minority can bring about social change.
Wow, that's a great example. Is there anything else I should know?
Yes, the augmentation principle suggests that if a group puts themselves forward at considerable risk to themselves or their members, they are likely to garner greater support. This is known as the snowball effect as the minority opinion spreads and becomes more widely adopted, leading to wide-scale social changes. Moscovici's conversion theory evaluation. Moscovici's conversion theory is about how minority group influence can lead to social change. For example, the suffragettes' movement for women campaigned for women's right to vote, and their efforts finally paid off in 1918 when the vote was given to women.
How did they achieve this?
They used a variety of methods ranging from political, educational, to even aggressive tactics to bring attention to their cause. This then enabled more people to consider their viewpoint, with some joining them while others dismissed them.
That's interesting. What role does consistency play in minority influence?
Consistency is an important element for social influence to occur for minority groups. Moscovici's laboratory study involving 32 groups of 6 females found that when Confederates were consistent in their responses and stated the slides were green, 8% of the majority agreed also. This was also seen to be higher when the group members were asked to write down their responses rather than state them out loud.
That's fascinating. Are there any criticisms of the study?
One criticism is that all the participants were female, and results gained from just one gender may not translate to understanding how social change occurs due to gender bias. It may also be argued that a group of men would be less likely to be persuaded, due to differences in how they are socialized compared to women, which research suggests are more conformist. Therefore, this study lacks external validity to real-world settings where both genders interact daily, and social change may be influenced by factors such as the gender group the minority represents. Social influence process. Social influence processes refer to the ways in which individuals and groups influence the attitudes and behaviors of others. Minority influence is when a small group or individual influences the beliefs and behaviors of a larger group.
That's interesting. Can you give me an example?
Sure, Greenpeace is a great example of minority influence. Originally formed in Canada in the 1970s, they slowly changed people's beliefs through a consistent message, attracting popular support and becoming the voice for environmental issues.
Wow, that's impressive. How does minority influence lead to social change?
Martin and Houston found that minority influence led to more creative and novel judgments than majority influences, supporting the idea that it is the minority that has a greater effect in drawing attention to issues and being a social force for innovation and social change.
That makes sense. But how does the majority take notice of the minority views?
Burgoon argued that deviant behaviors from minority groups alerted and aroused the majority, leading them to take notice and consider the minority views more deeply. This suggests that it is the violation of social norms by minority groups that leads to systematic processing, which begins the process of social change.
Interesting. So, the resistance minority groups present acts as a catalyst and starting point for potential social change?
Exactly. Namath agreed and argued that the dissent of minority groups to established norms is what causes majority group members to open their minds and consider other options.